Come along with me to take the trash out. Like we got nothing better to do, let's go along with Jim, take the trash out. This is like the last bag. In the mornings, before the trash comes, I like to empty the litter boxes and what's left in the trash cans to just kind of give us a clean slate going into Saturday. Sometimes, because we only get one pickup a week, the container gets full, gets raunchy, and it just gives us a little bit extra breathing room if I throw the last bit in there on Friday. As long as they don't come at 6 a.m. Isn't it nice? This is like 8 o'clock in the morning. Down the street. School's out. Sun's just now coming up. I would just be coming back from my bike ride last summer at this time. I'd go out about 5:30, 6 o'clock, come back around 8. 1 hour and 54 minutes is what it used to take me. See my little friend. Right? You're my outdoor buddy. Thanks for going along with me. All of the weather they thought we were going to have never materialized because that system ended up going south. They said this is a very strange system. Normally systems go north or go east or west, something like that. Northeast, northwest. This system is headed straight south, which is strange, they said. It's not strange if we believe in the great above, the content creator, the creator, the number one in charge of the matrix, the designer, the author of life, the world and the universe. A nice picture. Nice pretty blue sky, little white puffy clouds. Alright, maybe I'll get out back a little early today. I'll see you back there in a little bit. Even though I'm on linear plus, I'm still leveling the camera with my bullet level. My bubble. Maybe force of habit, even though it doesn't matter. The camera's automatically leveling everything. Probably uses just a smidge of more battery, but I can't tell. What's everybody doing today? Happy Friday. Friday again. Always a happy Friday. It's such a pleasant day out. If I didn't have this media mod and this GoPro, you'd be hearing the wind. Because there's a cool breeze coming out of the north as that system scoots down south toward Cuba. Of course, it doesn't look like we're out of the woods yet. I'll put up the picture. Looks like it's gonna hook when it gets down there, depending on how accurate they are, which lately hasn't been very accurate because it wasn't even supposed to be where it is now. 10% chance of development is what they said. And when it does make the hook, they say that's just going to be a bunch of thunderstorms. There won't even be anything to it. So we'll see going into next week how this plays out. But evidently it's drawing down cooler air from the north, and it is really super nice out. Beach weather for sure. This is the time you want to go to the beach like real early, go for a walk. Once the sun gets up after about 10 o'clock, it gets kind of warmish. You start sweating, perspiring. It's about 9 o'clock now. Channel 10 10.4, I think, is the channel that Leave It to Beaver. No, it's 32.2. 32.2 WMOR. 32.2. Leave It to Beaver and Perry Mason. Well, the channel's coming in like all garbled. Sometimes it comes in great, you know, it's digital, so you either get it or you don't. When you don't get it, sometimes you get just like a digital mess. Blocks, squares, because digital is just data, zeros and ones. Between TV antennas and here, there's a cell phone tower, and it's in the highlands, right on top of the highest point. There's this humongous tower. I mean, it doesn't even look like a regular cell phone tower. It's this huge, like four-sided thing that goes up maybe 250 feet in the air with antennas all over it. And if you set up your antenna in your attic or at your house, you want to orient the antenna to where the TV station antennas are. So you go to antenna.org and it gives you, you type in your address and it gives you the azimuth, the compass heading, so you can align your antenna to get the best picture. Unless you got a rotor. Got one of those mechanical rotors, you don't need it. In Lake Wales we had one, a mechanical rotor. We got channels from both Orlando and Tampa up there. It's amazing, because we were like 100 miles from Tampa. But you align it, direction of sight, with the antennas, and exactly along that azimuth reading is that cell phone tower, or a big huge radio tower. And there's some sort of 4G or 5G LTE interference. It's only certain times that comes through that. Microwave, 5G, I don't know what it is, but it comes from that radio tower. So that messes with the stronger signals, can make it past there, but 32.2, sometimes 10, the series of 10 channels, 10.3, 10.4, they just get all garbled. Yesterday it was fine, today it's garbled. Could have something to do with the ionosphere, if you're familiar with that. Different layers, stratosphere, ionosphere. That's how we used to skip radio frequencies. How if I was in Africa, I could talk to people here at Fort Bragg from my unit, from a little 15-watt radio, because I would use a frequency that was just strong enough. If you use a frequency that's too strong, it shoots right through the atmosphere and goes out into space. If you make the frequency lower in just the right bandwidth, it'll bounce off the lower layer, and then it'll hit the ground and just keep bouncing. In the CB world, they call that skip. But in the military world, for direct line communication, it's just the way things go. Now I think everything's satellite in the military. We weren't there yet when I was there, so we would always have a chart of what level and how thick the ionosphere was when we would deploy. And then I would set the frequency based on the layer of the atmosphere. If it's incorrect, you'll never get in touch with your base. And the base has the same sheet, so we're all on the same frequency. But literally tens of thousands of miles, tens of thousands, it's only like 24,000 miles around the earth, right? You can pretty much go 7,000 miles. I've talked all the way from the west coast to the east coast of Florida, the east coast at Fort Bragg from California on a 15-watt radio from using that method. But getting kind of off topic of what I was going to talk, I was going to try to keep this short today. It's good to see everybody, by the way. Thanks for being with me. But that tower's in the way. which interferes. It's frustrating because I've used filters and things on the line, and I've put 2 antennas in series in the attic, hopefully to get higher gain. You know, the smaller signal will be amplified. Plus I have an amplifier on it in the house and still get that. And it's the only reason for it is it's an interference from radio waves, microwaves, something to do with that tower. If it wasn't for that, I'd get everything fine. So just things to consider when you put up a TV antenna. Make sure you orient it right. In the news today, it said that people that are going to Taylor Swift's concerts are complaining that afterwards they can't remember them. Isn't that strange? You know how we were talking about the other day how memories get stored in different spaces in our brain, like a hard drive? Happy memories here, bad memories here, family memories in the back. It seems like the bad memories get triggered. We're in a place where they get triggered more often. So we need pictures and videos to trigger good memories. But that's what they were talking about. You know, these experts were saying that people are going to these Taylor Swift concerts and they're overstimulated, and the memories, instead of being burned to their hard drive, they're like going through it. And then I think they call it concert amnesia. People just don't remember. Personally, I've never had that problem. I've only been to a few concerts, but I can remember pretty much everything. I don't know if I've ever been overstimulated to the point where I have amnesia. How about you? Anybody there had concert amnesia? Stephanie would probably be more apt to it because she goes to more concerts, right? I guess that's why you take pictures and videos of the concert, just in case you forget. So evidently Taylor Swift concerts are really something to see. The Eros tour, I think it's, or Xenos tour or something. I think I talked about this before it started. When she was in Tampa, she was making $15 million per concert. And she does like 3 concerts in one venue because they're in stadiums. So she'll do 3 here, 3 in Dallas, 2 in New Jersey, you know, stuff like that. Just think of the money. But all the money in the world can't bring you happiness. You know, you're stuck in your house, you got to dress up like an old lady to go out shopping or something. So once people recognize you, you're screwed. There was that, concert amnesia, the weather. There was one other thing I was going to talk about. Of course, the Ukraine-Russia wars in the news. And I see where Ukraine evidently has crossed the border and started attacking cities inside of the Soviet Union or Russia. And that's only going to be met, it's only going to be met with more power. And eventually there'll have to be a nuclear weapon used over there. They're going to have to nuke Kiev. That's my prediction. Russia's going to have to show they mean business, and they're going to nuke somebody over there. And then NATO's going to respond. And of course, we all knew World War III had started back in 2021 or before. And now we'll know for sure. But that's always in the news. I'm always watching that. You think about what I was going to be talking about. You know, sometimes we worry about a lot of things that are outside of our control. You know, there's that human part of us and there's that spiritual part of us. We have the body of an animal and the soul of an angel that's inside of it. And a lot of times when we worry, it's the brain, the soul trying to affect the body. And a lot of things we can't control. You know, I'm seeing in the news that on my next property insurance, It may go up to $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. You know, it was $1,500 a few years ago when I got this house, and it's going to be next year $7,000. How can people afford it? And I try not to worry because I can't control that. But how am I going to pay more than my mortgage in property insurance? They're making people get flood insurance now that have never had it, that live in non-flood areas. The people in 10-story condos that live at the top have to get flood insurance. Isn't that strange? It's just very interesting. You can't control that. I'm just glad that mine doesn't come up until November. So mine starts on, I think, January 1st. So I'll have a few months to shop around to try to reduce it and things. But more than likely I'll have to this time. But what's a person to do? And how can anybody afford a house nowadays when your property insurance is going to cost as much as your mortgage? Stinging ants are out. So I need to spray, put down some granules, the 7 granules, which are pyrethrin. I think bifenthrin or bifethrin, which is a laboratory-made form of pyrethrin. And pyrethrins, I said marigolds before, but it's chrysanthemums. It's an organic pesticide derived from chrysanthemums. And it's pyrethrins that used to be in dog and cat shampoo. I mentioned this the other day, so I'm repeating myself. Just bear with me. I thought it was marigolds, but it's chrysanthemums. And I put down 25 pounds, 12.5 pounds in the front and 12.5 pounds in the back. And I did it at a rate that's a little bit heavier than what is called for. And once it gets watered in, we'll see if that helps at all. You know, I hate to kill the earthworms and the good insects, but we got to do something. I think the fleas are knocked down because of the spray, but I used all the 7 granules I had in the utility room, and I just ordered some triazicide granules, which I'll put a picture up here. It's $6 a bag for 10 pounds. So and there's you can get a 2-pack for I think $12. Free delivery, Amazon. And of course I shopped around. I checked Home Depot online and Lowe's, and nobody can come close to $12 for 20 pounds of triazicide. And I looked at the main ingredient, and basically it's a pyrethrin. So the cheapest way to do it, I'll use 1 bag in the front, 1 bag in the back. And I'll do it relatively soon so it doesn't sit around in the utility room. We're at 15 minutes. Probably going to cut it short today. It's always good to see everybody. Chickens are clucking, unless they just laid an egg. Beautiful blue sky. Maybe I'll take a video of it. Sandy's not here today. Where, oh where has my Sandy gone? Hope she's not laying out in the street, because that's another worry of mine. Here we go with the worry again. I worry that she's going to get hit in the street. I'll go out there someday and there she'll be. So I'm just glad that you don't have to see me cry. Even though you don't know it and I don't know it, I'm sure you cry more than we would want to admit to. Sometimes it helps. In the City of Angels, the Nicolas Cage character says that when our emotions become too strong, our soul weeps and we have tears. That's how he explained it to the doctor. The doctor gave a technical term, and he said it was because the soul becomes sorrowful for one thing or another, and our body weeps. 17 minutes, still going. Hope you folks have a great... Here comes Sandy. Hope you folks have a great Friday, going into your weekend. She must have heard me, right? Did you hear me? Did you hear me? Did you hear me saying that I missed you? There's a stinging ant on the camera and I'm trying to get it off because I've had these things on me. I've taken them into the house. And thank God I haven't been bit but once or twice. Twice. This thing is just running around on the camera. Just does not want to let go of this camera. This is just crazy. I'm gonna end up having to squish this thing. I love you. Have a great Friday evening, Saturday morning. Saturday, get some pancakes and sausage or waffles. Somebody at the school, guy that we know, student there who does student involvement work with like audio stuff. He asked me if I wanted some waffles because they had given him some extra waffles at the Waffle House. Man, did it taste good. I gotta get to the Waffle House again. My mom and dad for a while ate there all the time. When they traveled, I think they always looked for a Waffle House. I think it was in their travel folder, because I don't think we had internet back then on our phones, but when they traveled, they always looked for a Waffle House. Now I know why, because man, those Waffle House waffles, big dab of butter in the middle, syrup, was very good. Maybe it was just because it was 2 in the morning, right? Have a great, here we go again. Have a great rest of your Friday, Saturday, and I'll try to get out of this video. And Sandy and I say, have a great Saturday morning. Oh Lord, watch over us as we begin our weekend. Keep our family safe and secure. And may there be peace in the world and peace in our family. May we be reasonably happy in this life, supremely happy forever in the next. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I love you. I'll see you Saturday. Sandy and I say bye. Sandy, wave bye-bye. Sandy says bye-bye. She said, oh, stop it. You be a good girl. You be a good girl. Where do you stink? Where do you stink, Sandy? Hmm? Come on. Where do you stink? Where do you stink? You smell like you've been eating dog food. You've been eating dog food. Did you find some dog food somewhere?